Have you ever wondered why the divine masculine is drawn to you in ways you don't fully understand, yet sometimes pulls away just as intensely? Do you question what he truly feels, why he runs, or why the connection feels so powerful but also so confusing? You sense something deeper than romance, something beyond physical attraction, yet the silence between you leaves you uncertain and restless. In today's video, we're going to reveal the 6 mysterious but powerful qualities that make the divine feminine irresistibly magnetic to the divine masculine at the deepest soul level. You'll finally understand why he feels this silent pull toward you, even when he can't explain it himself. We'll explore the hidden forces, energetic, emotional, and spiritual, that bind your souls together, written long before either of you met in this lifetime. By the end of this video, you'll no longer question his feelings or your worth in this connection. You'll uncover the exact soul-level attractions that awaken him, ignite his longing, and draw him back toward you even when distance or silence stands in the way. Most importantly, you'll realize that your power doesn't come from chasing him, but from embodying your true essence. Once you do, he won't just notice you, his soul will remember you. Number 1. Her energetic stillness, a sanctuary for his soul. There is a kind of power that doesn't shout. It doesn't demand to be seen or heard. It whispers softly, yet lingers deeply within the soul. The divine feminine carries within her a sacred stillness, an energetic presence so subtle and unspoken that it cannot be measured by words or actions. It isn't something the eyes can see. It's something the heart feels. It is the gentle vibration she carries, a silent frequency that flows like a calm river beneath the chaos of life. It is the soft wave of serenity that enters the room before she speaks, touching everything and everyone around her. When the divine feminine is aligned with her truth, she doesn't chase, beg, or demand attention. She doesn't need to prove her worth or fight for space. She simply is, and in being, she becomes magnetic. Her energy doesn't pull through force. It draws naturally because authenticity cannot be resisted. She stands rooted, grounded, and whole within herself. And it is this effortless alignment that creates a gravity of attraction far more powerful than words or appearances ever could. To the divine masculine, who lives in a world where he is constantly pulled in 1,000 different directions, expected to perform, to lead, to protect, and to endure, her stillness feels like home. It becomes the place where he can finally breathe without judgment, where his restless spirit finds calm, and where his overworked mind can finally soften. In her presence, he is reminded of a forgotten part of himself, the part that longs for peace, silence, and connection beyond the noise of the world. In a society that glorifies speed, productivity, and constant striving, her calm energy feels almost rebellious. It speaks a different language, the language of the heart, the language of depth, and the sacred invitation to surrender. Her energy whispers gently, without ever needing to say a word. Slow down. You are safe here. You don't need to perform. You are enough. You are seen. These unspoken words reach a part of him that logic cannot touch, awakening a longing for stillness within his own soul. This energetic safety she creates is rare, unforgettable, and deeply irresistible. It becomes an invisible sanctuary where his guard naturally falls, where his spirit feels nurtured, and where his truth is accepted without conditions. When she embodies her grounded calm, she transforms into something far greater than a lover. She becomes a sacred refuge, a place his soul remembers even when his mind cannot explain why. For the divine masculine, this is not merely attraction, it is recognition. He is not drawn to her because she tries to hold him. He is drawn because, in her stillness, she holds herself. She reminds him of what his heart has been yearning for all along, a space where love doesn't demand, where presence doesn't perform, and where connection flows effortlessly without words. And that is why her energetic stillness makes her unforgettable. In a world obsessed with noise and constant motion, she becomes the quiet he never knew he needed, the sanctuary his soul has been searching for. Before we move on to the next powerful quality, take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever noticed how your energy changes everything around you without saying a single word? That is the quiet magic of your stillness, the space where love, safety, and connection begin. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your experience. or simply type, "My stillness is my power," to affirm your own divine energy. And stay with me, because in the next part, we'll uncover the second soul-level attraction, her magnetic self-belief, and why this one shift in your energy makes you absolutely unforgettable to the divine masculine. Number 2, her magnetic self-belief, the power of wholeness. The most powerful and transformative energy in the universe is the energy of a woman who has remembered who she truly is. There is something deeply magnetic about the divine feminine when she awakens to her own worth, when she stops searching for validation, stops chasing love, and finally realizes that the love she has been seeking has always lived within her. In that moment, something profound shifts. She no longer looks outward, trying to be chosen or approved of. Instead, she begins to embody love itself, and when she does, the energy around her transforms. Her aura expands, her presence deepens, and without forcing anything, she becomes magnetic. Her energy no longer whispers, "Please choose me," but instead radiates with quiet certainty, "I choose myself." And this subtle yet powerful shift changes everything. It shows in the way she carries herself, the way she walks into a room, the way she speaks without needing to raise her voice. It shows in the way she honors her boundaries unapologetically, protects her peace, and prioritizes her inner alignment above external approval. She doesn't glow because she tries to impress. She glows because she is fully rooted in her authentic self. There is no longer a sense of desperation, fear, or lack driving her actions. Instead, she operates from a space of wholeness, knowing that she is already complete within herself. She no longer clings to love because she has become love. She no longer grasps for worth because she lives as its embodiment. To the divine masculine, this shift is captivating beyond words. Her self-belief disarms him, not by overpowering him, but by awakening something dormant within his own soul. Her quiet confidence calls him closer, not because she reaches for him, but because she stands firmly in her power, anchored in her truth. He is drawn to her not out of need or longing, but because her energy reminds him of his own essence, of the parts of himself he has forgotten, buried, or ignored. And here lies the beautiful paradox. The moment she no longer needs his validation, he begins to feel her worth more than ever before. Without trying to prove anything, she mirrors to him what self-love truly looks like. She becomes the living embodiment of the love he unconsciously craves, and in her presence, he feels called to rise and meet her there, to match her vibration, to meet her in her wholeness, and to stand beside her as an equal. Her magnetic self-belief is not arrogance, nor is it ego. It is the natural expression of her soul remembering its power. When she embraces this truth, she no longer chases, performs, or compromises herself to be loved. Instead, she becomes the love that draws everything aligned with her energy closer, including the divine masculine, whose spirit cannot resist the pull of her light. Because when a woman finally remembers who she is, she doesn't just change herself, she changes the way the entire universe responds to her. Number 3, her deep emotional intuition, the language of the soul. Some women speak with words, but the divine feminine speaks an entirely different language, the language of energy, emotion, and the soul. She senses what others overlook, noticing what remains unspoken and unheard. She can read between the pauses, feel the weight of silence, and understand the emotions hidden behind carefully chosen words. Her intuition flows like an ancient river, quiet yet powerful, deep yet effortless, carrying wisdom that does not need explanation. Her emotional intuition is not something she forces, it is part of who she is. She feels the subtle shifts in energy, the soft undercurrents beneath the surface, and the unexpressed pain tucked away behind a smile. Where others see only appearances, she perceives truth. She can sense the storm before the thunder speaks, the ache beneath his silence, and the longing hidden within his guarded heart. And in her presence, the divine masculine feels something he rarely experiences elsewhere. He feels seen truly, deeply, and completely, yet never judged. For someone who has been taught to wear emotional armor, to suppress his vulnerabilities, and to measure his worth through control and strength, this is nothing short of liberation. Her intuition creates a rare and sacred space where he doesn't have to pretend, where he can finally breathe without the weight of performance or expectation. What makes this even more magnetic is the way she mirrors back not his flaws but his truth. She sees beyond his defenses, beyond his walls, and reflects back to him the parts of himself he has forgotten. She recognizes the love he buried beneath years of fear, the strength hidden behind his silence, and the tenderness protected beneath his guarded exterior. Without judgment, without pressure, she reminds him of who he truly is. This intuitive knowing doesn't just attract him, it awakens him. It stirs something within him that has long been dormant, calling forth the version of himself he thought he had lost, the part that longs to feel, to love fully, and to be free. Through her presence, he begins to remember the man he was before the world told him to harden, before life taught him to hide his heart. Even if he tries to deny it, even if he runs, detaches, or pretends he doesn't care, his soul never forgets her energy. It imprints upon him in a way that words cannot explain. Because when a woman can feel his heart without him saying a single word, when she embraces his light and shadow without conditions, that is a love he can never unfeel. Her deep emotional intuition is more than a gift. It is the bridge between souls. It allows her to speak directly to his essence without uttering a sound, to reach the parts of him he hides from the world, and to awaken the tenderness he thought he had lost forever. And that is why, no matter how far he runs, he will always feel her in his heart, because her energy is unforgettable, and her understanding transcends time, distance, and words. Imagine this. The divine masculine walks into the room, his expression calm, his words steady, his posture strong, yet beneath it all, his energy carries the weight of unspoken exhaustion. He doesn't say a word about the burden he's carrying, but the divine feminine feels it instantly. She notices the subtle shift in his breathing, the heaviness in his silence, and the quiet ache behind his guarded eyes. She doesn't ask him 100 questions. She doesn't push him to explain. Instead, she meets his energy with presence and understanding. Without judgment, without trying to fix him, she simply sits beside him and places her hand gently over his. No words are exchanged, yet in that silence, his heart begins to soften. He feels her acceptance, her knowing, and her unwavering compassion. In that moment, he realizes something profound. He doesn't have to perform for her. He doesn't have to hide behind strength or wear the mask the world expects him to wear. With her, he is allowed to just be. Her intuition doesn't force him to open up. It invites him to. And slowly, he begins to let down his walls, breathing more freely than he has in years. This is the power of the divine feminine's deep emotional intuition. She sees beyond appearances, beyond words, and beyond defenses, reaching the parts of his soul that even he has forgotten. And because of this, he feels something rare and unforgettable, the safety of being truly seen and deeply understood. Number 4, her surrendered trust in the universe, power in letting go. The divine feminine doesn't chase, she aligns. In a world that constantly teaches us to control, to force, and to plan every outcome, she chooses a different path, the path of trust. Her surrender is not weakness, it is the deepest expression of strength. It is the quiet yet unshakable power that whispers, "I trust the universe more than I fear the unknown." She understands that true connection cannot be manufactured, rushed, or controlled. She doesn't cling to rigid timelines or demand that love unfold in a certain way. She doesn't force conversations, chase validation, or panic when things don't seem to go as expected. Instead, she surrenders to the divine flow of life, knowing that what is meant for her will always find her, and what is not meant to stay will naturally fall away. This surrender isn't passive resignation, it's active faith. It's a conscious choice to believe that the universe is working with her, not against her. She releases the need to constantly control the how and when because she trusts the why. And in doing so, she chooses faith over fear and peace over control. Her energy says, without words, "I am whole. I am guided. I am safe." In a world overflowing with anxiety, restlessness, and uncertainty, this kind of radiant trust is magnetic. It sets her apart. While others struggle, push, and grasp for love, opportunities, and approval, she flows with an inner rhythm that transcends chaos. This serenity doesn't come from ignoring life's challenges. It comes from dancing with them, knowing that everything, even the unknown, is part of her higher path. To the divine masculine, this surrendered energy is mesmerizing. It draws him into a deeper current where love doesn't demand but allows, where connection doesn't push but flows. With her, he experiences a love that doesn't control him, doesn't seek to possess him, and doesn't try to mold him into something he's not. Instead, she creates space for him to be, to breathe, and to evolve at his own pace. Her belief in divine timing reflects the wholeness within her. She doesn't need someone else to complete her or validate her worth. She is already whole, already enough, and already aligned with her truth. And paradoxically, it is this very sense of inner completeness that awakens his desire to rise and meet her there, not from obligation, but from inspiration. He feels called to match her vibration, to walk beside her as an equal, not ahead or behind. Her surrendered trust reminds him of something his own soul has long forgotten, that love flows most powerfully when it's free, not forced, and in her presence, he begins to remember that life too becomes more beautiful when we learn to let go and trust the unfolding. Her surrender isn't about giving up, it's about stepping into harmony with the universe. It is a deep knowing that everything meant for her is already on its way, and that inner knowing, that unwavering trust, is what makes her energy unforgettable, a beacon of peace in a restless world, and an anchor of love in a sea of uncertainty. If you've made it this far, take a deep breath and ask yourself, how often do you truly let go and trust the unfolding of your journey? This is your reminder that you don't have to control every outcome, and you don't have to chase what is already meant for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts and stories. Share in the comments how surrender has transformed your path, or simply type, "I trust the divine timing of my life," to affirm your faith in the universe. And stay with me, because in the next section, we'll explore another soul-level attraction that makes the divine feminine unforgettable, her authentic expression, and why being unapologetically yourself awakens something profound within the divine masculine. Number 5. Her authentic expression, the alchemy of truth. There is an undeniable magic in a woman who stops performing for the world and chooses instead to simply be. The divine feminine in her authenticity is raw, real, and unfiltered, and it is this very essence that makes her unforgettable. She no longer measures herself against society's expectations, nor does she try to mold herself into someone else's idea of femininity. Her power does not come from fitting in, it comes from showing up fully as herself. Her authenticity is expressed in her presence, laughing from the deepest part of her soul, crying without shame when her heart aches, creating purely for the joy of creation, and dancing with abandon without needing anyone's approval. She lives guided by her truth, allowing her emotions to flow freely and unapologetically. This freedom is not chaos, it is alignment. It is the beauty of a woman fully inhabiting her essence. And this authentic expression carries a frequency so pure and powerful that it cannot be faked, copied, or replicated. The divine masculine feels it immediately, even if he cannot explain why. Her energy stirs something within him, a sacred memory of love that transcends reason, logic, and even lifetimes. In her presence, he remembers feelings he thought he had lost: freedom, passion, innocence, and connection to something far greater than himself. Her authenticity acts as a silent invitation. Without saying a word, she gives him permission to remove his own masks, the layers of performance, expectation, and control he has carried for so long. Around her, he feels safe to feel more deeply, express more openly, and reconnect with the truth of who he really is. Where the world asks him to be strong, perfect, and unshaken, she gives him the rare gift of space to simply be human. This is why her authenticity is not just attractive, it's alchemical. It doesn't merely draw him closer, it transforms him. She becomes a mirror reflecting his highest essence, showing him not who he has been taught to be, but who he truly is beneath it all. Through her unapologetic presence, she awakens within him a longing to return to wholeness, to strip away the illusions, and to experience love that exists beyond conditions and expectations. In living her truth, she reminds him of his own, and in that remembrance, something powerful happens, walls dissolve, hearts open, and a deeper connection emerges. The divine feminine, by daring to be fully herself, becomes more than a lover. She becomes a catalyst for his awakening, guiding him back to the unity, freedom, and authenticity his soul has always been seeking. Her authentic expression is the alchemy of truth, a magnetic force that transcends appearances and awakens the deepest parts of his being. And that, more than anything she says or does, is what makes her energy unforgettable. Number 6. The essence he cannot resist, what truly awakens him. The divine masculine is not drawn to the divine feminine because of her perfection, her performance, or even her appearance. What captivates him goes far beyond the surface. He is drawn to her essence, to the energy she embodies, and to the soul-level connection she awakens within him, something ancient, unspoken, and impossible to ignore. What makes her magnetic cannot be manufactured or imitated, because it doesn't come from doing, it comes from being. These 6 qualities, her energetic stillness, magnetic self-belief, deep emotional intuition, surrendered trust in the universe, authentic expression, and her overall presence are not techniques, strategies, or roles to perform. They are reflections of who she already is beneath the layers of fear, expectations, and conditioning. The truth is, the divine feminine does not need to become magnetic. She already is. The journey is not about adding more, but about remembering her true nature, the powerful, radiant, and whole essence she carried long before the world taught her to hide it. When she stops performing and starts embodying her truth, her energy naturally aligns with her highest self, and that alignment is what he feels so deeply. In her presence, he is reminded of something his soul has always known, a love that doesn't demand, a connection that doesn't have to be earned, and a safety that allows him to return to his truest self. She becomes the mirror of his authenticity, reflecting back the parts of him he had forgotten, ignored, or buried beneath years of expectations and conditioning. And this is the beautiful paradox. When she returns fully to herself, she calls him home to himself too. She becomes the sanctuary his soul has been searching for, not because she tries to hold him, but because her energy invites him to rest, to breathe, and to remember. She becomes a living reminder of the wholeness he once thought he had lost, showing him that the love he has always longed for was never outside of him but within. Her essence doesn't just attract him, it awakens him. It touches something eternal inside him, something beyond logic, beyond appearances, and beyond words. It stirs his heart, ignites his spirit, and calls him into alignment with his own soul. And in that awakening, he doesn't just see her, he remembers her, not as someone new, but as someone his heart has always known, across time, space, and lifetimes. The divine feminine's true magnetism lies in this. By daring to return to herself, she gives him permission to return to himself too. And in that sacred meeting, essence to essence, soul to soul, a love is born that cannot be forgotten, replaced, or denied. To every divine feminine on this journey, you don't need to chase, prove, or strive to be perfect in order to be loved. Everything you've been searching for has always been within you. When you remember who you are and embody your true essence fully, your energy transforms, and when that happens, he will feel it, not through words, but deep within his soul. True love isn't about holding on. It's about coming home to yourself. When you allow yourself to shine, you'll see the universe aligning everything perfectly in your favor. If this message touched your heart, leave a comment below saying, "I choose to remember who I am." Claim your power, share this video to spread the love, and don't forget to watch the next video below. Your journey of awakening has only just begun.